topic because it is an absolute diverse topic for all of us. Phyllis, we're not going to be drawing cars.
Huh.
We're not going to be drawing people. We're not
Yay.
going to be drawing. We're not going to be drawing architecture. So I'm going
Yay.
to I'll probably doze off, but I think the subjects are going to be extraordinary, and I'm very anxious to hear Scott talk about it. So I will introduce Scott as the one and only Scott Merrill, and I'm appreciative of his unselfish desire to educate us tonight on really the art of nature sketching. So Scott, floor is yours.
Cool. It's like do 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 do.
You can
Hey
come out from
everybody.
behind the curtain.
That's right. Um, as mentioned, I'm Scott. I know most of you, some of y'all I maybe have encountered that, or maybe you're new. So either way, I mean that's cool. Welcome. And I'm just going to start by sharing my screen because I created a little presentation. It's got a lot of slides to it, but I go through it very quickly because I want to kind of explain to you the evolution of how I got to this point, and it's going to be really quick, lots of imagery, and then I go into nature journaling by someone who I think is fantastic. His name's John Muir. And then after that, we're going to do some exercises. I did want to mention, if any of you don't have the PDF of the images, it's in the chat. If you don't see the PDF in the chat and you signed in afterwards, let me know and just say, hey, I don't have those images, and then I'll re-upload them into the chat. It's no problem. So, but we won't be getting to those images anyways until after this little presentation. So, I'll go ahead and share that right before we get into the drawing part and stuff. I really hope y'all enjoy this. I'm very excited about it. As Chris mentioned, I absolutely love the natural world. Originally, my major was going to be a biology teacher at the University of South Alabama, and I ended up really looking at all the posters on the walls going,
Hey,
wow,
Julianne,
what's
come here,
that?
look at this. It's a mushroom.
And if we could ask everyone to please mute
Oh, sorry.
if you're on. Yeah, thank you.
I got so fascinated by the posters on the walls and in the education department that I was like, these are really cool, and I ended up wondering who made those. And so I ended up talking to the design advisor, and he was like, well, that's graphic design and illustration. So I kind of jumped ship, told my sister about it, and who lives in Mobile, and she was like, this is perfect for you. So I was like, cool. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Yeah.
I might have to make you the host. I'm not sure.
Is it not sharing?
I don't know.
Let me try to make it.
If it doesn't, I'll make you the host.
Okay. How about
Oh, that looks good. Yeah, we can see it. Can
yeah, you
everybody see that?
the
Yes.
National Geographic and all
Yeah.
that?
Yep.
Cool. Okay. So when I was a kid, we had magazines, National Geographic, that were actually in the school library. And then we actually, in our house, we had World Book encyclopedias. These are not them, but this is an example. And that was as close to the internet that I could get that didn't exist yet. And so I was fascinated by both National Geographic, by the graphics, the pictures, the art. And I was really, I mean, honestly, it's probably really the seed, that and another thing I'm about to show you, that kind of got me going into the natural world of illustration and stuff. And just so excited about it. And I don't know, there's a frog in there if you see that right there. And they had these great little plastic pages on the inside. It would show you the dissection of a frog with Mylar. So you could flip it and it would say the outside, and then show you their lungs, and then it would show you their heart. And I was like, this is so really cool. And so I would always draw all these things all the time. My niece is actually in this meeting, and her mom, my sister, was just so encouraging always about my journey into art. It was really wonderful. So and then I ended up getting a really cheap microscope when I was a kid. And I'd go to the beach always and find sand, find dirt, whatever, find water in ponds. And I was always looking under it, just got fascinated. I grew up in an area called Mayport. And for those who don't know where that's at, it's at the very top right corner of here in Jacksonville. And it's next to the Navy base. And, I used to go fishing, and I'd go digging for fiddler crabs at the beach, and just all the time outside playing and exploring. And it was just kind of like that traditional aspect of, when they say when I was little, I used to always do everything outside. I literally did everything outside. So to the point where I would look for shark teeth all the time, and I have like over 4,000 now. And there's a place there called the Marine Science Center, and that's really what influenced me the most to kind of got the tiny seeds that were planted in the back of my head. They had stuff similar to this, like just fish and jars and octopus and skeletons, and I was like, this is so cool. And every year as a kid, we'd go there and we'd go to the beach and dig up shells and bring them back, and we'd identify them. They brought out this really cool frozen shark, and you get to touch it, and they just it was amazing. And I remember as a kid just going, I absolutely love this. And all the time I was like, I knew I wanted to do something like that. But and as I mentioned, I was going to be a biology teacher, but then I realized I really love art and design and creating. And I thought there's got to be a way to combine these two. And there is. So now fast forward some, I created this thing called Low Tide Learning recently, and I'd say in the last 10 years or so. And it's where I was exploring my own passion for it. I created YouTube and Instagram and Facebook, and it's where I would go to the beach and I would draw pictures and kind of illustrate them. And I wanted to kind of educate people on what I found at the beach, just as a layman going out and finding things. And I do videos and post them on YouTube. And I'd be like, oh, this is a horseshoe crab. And I'd talk about it. And I love doing it so much. And then I started drawing for it. But you can kind of see the things I would collect, and I'd post them on, there. And I'd talk about things and describe them, and jellyfish. And one that shows like this animal getting eaten, dissolved inside the jellyfish. And then I'd go and look it up and go, how does this work? And I was like, maybe I should have been marine biologist. I don't know, but I'm at where I'm at, as a designer and creative director at my company. So, and speaking of that, they were like, hey, that's great that you love science so much. So they actually, I do a lot of environmental graphics, and this is just a quick sketch of a littoral shelf. And this is what it ended up looking like when I was done for a client, of an actual client, to kind of show them, hey, this is what's going to grow in the water and all this other stuff. And I'd work with the civil engineer on that. And so I really was happy because I kind of found at my company, they really valued my contributions with my interest in art and science, which is kind of unusual for a civil engineering company. But we actually had a scientist who worked there, and she left. But then she'd call us and go, hey, we want to hire Scott to do graphics through ETM. So this is kind of another one. And just the whole point of all this is just to kind of build up to where I'm going for this nature journaling. So more graphics about the environment and water and how it works. So really over the years, just kept getting deeper and deeper. And I hadn't started nature journaling yet, but I got excited about nature. So I started painting feathers and shells, drawing birds, and just constant, like, what kind of bird is that? And drawing zoo animals, and then wondering about how do I properly draw a dog, and if it was jumping, and started painting more things, and really started kind of honing in, and really one of those things in life where you kind of bounce around so much looking for your path and for your passion. And I started to really kind of find it. I do watercolors, and kind of drew what was going on underwater, shells. I found myself really getting into the ocean scene and insects. And then I said, okay, and I didn't know about nature journaling yet. So I did know about journaling. And this, I think, is before my days with urban sketching. And I would go around and I'd go to forts and I'd draw them and I'd go, oh, that'd be cool. What does this look like if this was a map? So I started kind of doing some journaling, and this kind of led into me getting involved with USK, because I was like, wow, this just drawing places is a ton of fun. But I would also draw maps, and I would put notes in there. And honestly, before I knew anything about nature journaling, I knew nothing about it, but I was like looking at turtles and trying to figure out how big they were, and just in composition and the layout and all that. And all this kind of kept leading. And then I recently got my master's degree, and in it, part of it was for data visualization. When I had a chance to do any kind of personal projects that you could just pick from, based on some data. So I did mine on sharks, and I was like, oh, different types of teeth. This is my collection. And I would illustrate the shark of what I thought the shark, I'd look and say, oh, this is that shark. This is how many teeth, and describe the teeth. And slowly and surely, all this ends up kind of leading towards the whole idea of getting into nature journaling because it just kept reinforcing and kept building over time. I do these graphics and kind of talk about things, did more environmental ecosystem impacted with illustrations and things. And then we get right into me going, you know what? Let's start journaling this in little sketchbooks. And so I really started getting into that. And then I introduced you to John Muir Laws. And this is where I got on this whole journey. So with John Muir Laws, he's out in California, an amazing human being, just the coolest job in the world. And he kind of really is, I'd say, one of the leading founders for nature journaling as far as a formal thing. And he has a website, but really interesting. He has books and stuff. And I have down there's a link with his website and his store. I have these books. They're fantastic. I think Lisa has some too. They're so great. And it just kind of teaches you step by step. And it's great because in the summer when it gets so hot, I thought, oh, this will be great because I can teach people how to draw birds and how to draw things step by step. When it's too hot to do anything like outside, or if it's storming, then we can go meet at a library and I'll be like, okay, we're going to learn about how to draw these things. So that when you see it in nature, you'll have a quicker time kind of, doing it, shaping it out. These are some of his things that kind of show you nature journaling and how he does it. He's on YouTube. You can see at the bottom, and he goes into great detail on everything. So with nature journaling, there's basically 3 questions that you ask yourself or comment when you're looking at something. Let's say if you're out and you find a mushroom, right? And you say, you make observations about, and you say them out loud. You see this mushroom, you go, what do I notice about this? Well, it's big, it's got a skinny stem, it's got bumps on it, and you flip it over, it's got these cool, looks like little ribs on the inside underneath it, and you smell it maybe. Hopefully you don't eat it, you feel the texture and you just kind of really look at the dirt on the bottom. You really explore it. And the reason for that, instead of just looking at something fast, if you learn to see things instead of just looking at things, then you really start slowing down and you become one with the moment. You look at things and you really start making observation skills where these get committed to memory. So, when you really take the time to study something and see it instead of just looking at it, and you will start noticing things that you never noticed before. And that will help you in your recall whenever you want to draw something. It'll help you because you're putting all this in your brain, and the brain's it's just so the elasticity, and it's great to slow down and really be in the now and study these things. And the second question you say is, well, I wonder how this thing grows. I wonder, why does it look like this? How does this work? How does this grow? What's the energy that it has to make it grow? Is it sunlight? Does it need a lot of water? So you ask whatever you're looking at, you just wonder about it and just really just kind of ask yourself all these questions like, how are all these patterns on there? What makes these different colors? And those kind of questions help you think critically. And critical thinking is so important, especially now with the advent of AI and it's tending to think for us. And so there's nothing wrong with, AI, I suppose. But really, we want to stay critical thinking because we're human beings. We have a large brain, and there's a reason for that. So we want to keep using it. And so you have to ask yourself, I wonder. So the first question was, I notice. And the second one was, I wonder. And then lastly, it reminds me of. And what's great about what it reminds me of, you start making connections between this and other things you've heard, seen, or experienced in the past, and why that's important. It's great for your memory. It helps you to go, oh, this mushroom, the bottom of it reminds me of when I saw a jet engine, those little rib type things inside there, or something, or a vent or something like that. So you start asking yourself that, and that recall of reminding yourself helps you when you're drawing to make associations. So if I say, for instance, if I'm looking at the neck of an ostrich and I go, that looks like my couch, my leather couch, then maybe that will help you kind of visualize it even better, so that you make all these connections about, what does it remind me of? And it's great for your brain, and it helps with recall. And it helps you become a better artist and a better person who does observation. And it's just a really great thing to ask those three questions. And lastly, and I'm going to show you some examples next, we're almost done. When you're doing a nature journal, you can, depending on what your passion is, if you really love drawing, then draw first. If you're more of a writer and you struggle with drawing, then write first, and if you're good with numbers and you kind of notice things, maybe you're an accountant or something, then think about, well, how big is that? Or how much do I think that weighs, or things like that. So you actually will write these into your nature journal. So it's more than just a picture. It's more than just drawing a beautiful picture. And that's one of the nice parts too, is if you're struggling with drawing, if some of your skills are just new skills and you're developing them, what's so great is that it's okay to be sketchy. In fact, you'll probably be more sketchy, especially if you're drawing live animals, which I'll show you, because they're so fast. So you actually have to draw fast. And so if you're an artist and we're all doing arts, we're all artists. If you're doing artwork, then maybe start with your drawing, but make sure you leave space around it to write notes. Maybe do a leader, and I'll show you examples of these, and maybe do leaders and things like that. So words, numbers, and pictures. And here's some examples of when I was at the beach, and this is before I got into nature journaling, but you can see the composition where there's barnacles over here. This was down at Marineland on all the rocks on the beach, but I wrote notes about it. I just thought that was the coolest thing. I go to the zoo and then I was like, yeah, what is it about this rhino? Where are they from? So I drew Africa. Why not? And I don't see Africa, but I can imagine what Africa looks like. I know part of it looks like a rhino horn on the right-hand side. So that's part of it. Reminds me of a rhinoceros. What a weird coincidence that Africa and where they're located looks like a rhinoceros. And so you just start writing and drawing even an aloe plant. You're like, what's so big about an aloe plant? So I asked myself, how is this thing stuck on the wall? Does it emit some kind of paste or some kind of weird cement? And then the brown damaged areas, they're just kind of neat. They're these little patches and they don't heal over. They just, not like us, where our skin covers it. They end up just kind of drying out in those areas. And then even with like this giraffe, I'm looking at it and they happen to have a vertebrae there. And I was like, so I put a note on there. If you look, you'll see it 12 inches. They have a 12-inch, each vertebrae is like a foot big, and if I was smart, I would have figured out, hey, I would have asked how many vertebrae do they have, and how much pressure does it take their heart?
She's got all the benefits of living in the United States, representing China. Do they have the right to say anything in China against the government? Or what happens, Raymond? We'll give it next point.
Someone's mic is on.
But your job is to get a spot on the podium, not a spot on the View. And
Hello?
I feel listening to these press conferences. But Laura, to follow up with your point,
Hello.
we'll talk about Trump, but you'll never hear Eileen Gu or anybody else say anything
Who has their radio going or TV going?
There you go. Sounds like it's off.
Okay.
Thank you. So, and you ask questions like, hey, these giraffes, they're so tall. You know what I mean? They're just these huge animals. And, this is a human. That thing's like 18 feet to the top where you can eat these. So you make those notes, they're 16 feet. And then you start wondering, how does that heart pump all that blood to cool the brain? That thing has got to be a monstrous engine of a heart. So these are the things that makes you start thinking and wondering, and it's great because you're not just kind of copying something in a beautiful way, which is wonderful. I love doing that. I love to make art. I truly, truly do. But I'm also a very curious person. I'm curious about the world. I'm amazed and wondered by the way things work, and I want to know more. I will always want to know more, and that's what keeps us young in our brain. Is that curiosity, that wonder. And it's exciting. And this, I think it's in my camera too, but like these herons, that's the same bird. It just kept running around. And so I was like, okay, I got to draw this bird over and over and over because every time he moves, it's a different looking bird. And so it's okay to be sketchy. You can see, but that constant sketching will allow you to become better at the more you do it, the better you get, because it's like instant practice. It's kind of like when we do our 3-minute sketches, it's like that, but instead of 3-minute sketches, you're literally doing like 5-second composite. You're just like when you're drawing really fast. The more you do it, the more expressive it'll look, and you'll capture it. And it's okay to be sketchy. These are not meant to be like in a frame. These are meant to be observation. You put the weather in there, like what was the temperature today? You make observations. Was it hot? And the reason why is if you just took a picture of that bird's lost on your phone forever. You'll never remember that bird. But if you put down in your notes, hey, this is what I was doing. It was low tide, and you know, there was a briny smell, and it was very strong. There's small bones in the mud. I forgot about that, right? There's small bones in the mud. You know, I expect they're from larger animals such as bird. I think it might have been a manatee bone. I don't know, hopefully not a person, but it was a big bone. And so I was just like, wow, this is crazy. And I write those notes down, and then that way I remember when I look at this, I remember that day. I remember the weather. I remember how I felt. And you, by doing that, you're just like in regular art, instead of taking a picture when you draw something, you're investing, you're having a relationship, a visual relationship with this subject matter, and it gets retained in your mind and forever. It's great. And so here's another, there's that crab that was stuck in the mud. He was in there, but I was like, I guess he's about 5 inches. And at the zoo, you know, I would do snakes and just sketch. And I have no anxiety about how good or bad this looks. Zero anxiety, because this is just, I'm sharing with you, but I never intended to share it with a big group. It was just more my personal study. Look how sketchy that is. That's okay. You know, I mean, things are moving fast. I'm just trying to understand what I'm looking at and make notes. More fiddler crabs. And that's the thing too, is you ask yourself, why is it called a fiddler crab? So then what's great about the Magic Phone or cell phones is that we can look on there and go, why is a fiddler crab called a fiddler crab? I mean, it's because their claw looks like a fiddle. How cool is that? And so that's pretty fun. And then I go, well, how big is that? It's about 1 inch. And so I make these notes, and you know, and it makes for great conversation too. You can I talk to my neighbor Lindsay at work all the time. I'm like, do you know why fiddler crabs called fiddler crabs? And so it's wonderful, you know. And so there's so much that you can learn through nature journaling, and you can draw honestly just like anything outside. It can be a leaf, it could be a pine cone, it could be a seed. There's so much wonder in the most ordinary things. It could be clouds. You mean, think about it when you're a kid, you looked at the clouds, you asked those same questions. I noticed that cloud looks like this. I wonder what made that cloud. It reminds me of a giraffe, you know, or reminds me of a whale. We've been doing nature journaling in our head since we were little kids. Just now, hopefully we'll all join together and kind of explore it. And it's just so much fun. Now, there's a great author, Mary Oliver, and wonderful human being. And instructions for living a life. Pay attention, be astonished, and tell about it. And that's all we're doing. We do that in urban sketching. You know, we pay attention, we're astonished. These are beautiful buildings. Look at the detail. And we tell people that through our visualizations that we create. Well, the same thing applies to nature journaling, and you know, except there's just not as many straight lines, and it's fun because some stuff's alive, you know, and it's great fun. So I think that's it. Yeah, that is it. So I'm going to quit sharing, and then we're going to get into drawing. But first, I'm going to re-upload that PDF. Does anybody have any questions at all? I'll be happy to answer them. So yeah, Lindsay comments the female fiddler crabs don't have the big old claw. They don't. So that's a good wonder question. I wonder why some fiddler crabs have one big claw and some don't. Well, the big giant claw is for the guy, and he uses that for defense, but he also uses it for, hey, look at me, I got a big old claw. Let's be a couple, you know, that kind of thing. So it's a lot of fun. So I am going to upload that file one more time in case anybody needs it. Oops, I just did something weird. Hang on, clicked the wrong button. There we go. My computer, home, nature journaling, smaller. Okay, so here's that thing for that. Does everybody, you don't see any more screens on my part, right? I quit sharing. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
All right.
Just see.
Cool. And now I'm going to, so I've shared that with you. I am going to reopen my little critter artwork because I need it too. And then we will get started. So I did want to share with you one more thing, which is pretty cool. I just need to make sure I can see the, okay, great. I got my drawings on the right. When you're nature journaling, okay, there's a few things you want to take with you that's a little different than regular urban sketching. And one is a ruler, and they're great because it helps you with I wonders because you can get up close and personal and measure things. So a ruler is great to carry. I have like a regular standard wooden 12-inch ruler, but I would suggest if you do get a ruler, get one that's 6 inches and make sure that it has metric on there, or sorry, metric on there. And the reason why is it's so much easier to measure things in metric. I mean, it's so much easier to say 1 centimeter than it is to say, 15/16 or something like that. So if you want to do the standard, that's fine. But honestly, centimeters for me is the way to go. Carry all your regular stuff that you bring, your watercolors and all that business. But really another great thing to bring is I bring with me this, which is a resource guide for when I'm looking at things. If I see something on the beach, that's another thing. You can nature journal at the beach, or you can see all the great birds. And so it kind of helps you too, because you see something, you draw it, and then you're like, I wonder if it's in here. And you look at it and suddenly you're like, I feel like a zoologist. I know what that's called. The other great thing to carry, which I absolutely love, you ready for this? They're so much fun because you can go in there and zoom in on things and see all the creepy crawlies. Oh, I love it. I think therefore I think that's it. So, and the rest of the stuff is the regular stuff that you bring. Oh, except for when I go, I bring my standard stuff that I carry with me for urban sketching, my pens and stuff, but also and my watercolors, but bring colored pencils. And you don't want to bring a giant box, but I bring enough. Like personally, I try to find the colors that are in nature, a lot of greens, some browns, some grays, a couple blues, and maybe one red for just pop and one yellow. And the reason why, I mean, do a lot of greens, and because there's a lot of green, there's a lot of browns in nature, everything tries to blend in. But a lot of times you just want to you can use a colored pencil, and because you're just documenting. And some of the stuff I'm going to show you is truly colored pencils. But so everybody has their PDF. Does everybody see it? Does anybody I don't have it yet. I don't know what to draw.
Where is it, Scott? Where do we find it?
I just uploaded it again into the chat.
Okay.
Yep.
Scott, what do you think about watercolor pencils?
Oh, those are great. I love watercolor pencils. I have these other kind. They're called ink tents. I don't know if anyone's ever used that. They're amazing because they're hyperactive looking color. And you put it down, there's so much stuff in nature. It's just such popping color. And you can put these ink tents. They're great. I highly suggest you get them. They're a little pricey, but only because I guess they're hard to make, but they sure do pop. So watercolor pencils are great. They're just great because, it's definitely, and they're great to use because you just kind of sketch that on there and then you use that little portable brush that's, you know what I'm talking about? The one that's got like the tube in the back for water. I did want to share with you, there's one more thing. These are great too. They're like binoculars, but they're like seeing things up close. So like regular binoculars, you look and you try to zoom in on things close, you can't see it. These are like the opposite. These are, and you feel kind of goofy because you're looking at something that's 4 feet away and you're like, it's right there. And you're like, wow, that's cool. And people are going, oh, poor guy. But
what are they called? What is it called?
These are Pentax. I'll put it in the text. I for sure will. But they're great because it's made specifically for extremely close focusing. And what's great about that is, especially here in Florida, there's so much stuff we don't want to go running through the woods on, but we can see from a dock or something or from a boardwalk and we're going through there. You don't really want to crawl 3 feet out to look at that spider up close, but you can't really see it. My eyes are terrible. You get these things in there and that spider that you can barely see is blurry. Oh my gosh. I went to GTM, the Guana Preserve Museum place, the Science Center. And when I went in there, they had this frog in the back of the tank. I mean, it was only like 3 feet from my eyes. And it's like, I can't even see it. I can see it, but I don't see the details. I got these things. I look crazy. I'm like holding it right up. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And as I'm looking at it, there's sand on the back of it. It's got these tiny spikes. I'm like, well, look at that. I was so excited. I pulled one of the people working. I was like, you got to see this. And they looked at it and they were like, oh my gosh, I work here and I never noticed that. I was like, isn't it cool? And then they were like, where'd you get those? And so, but they're great. I'm going to bring them with me when I go sketching. And if anyone wants to use them, I will gladly give them up because I want you to experience it. I mean, it's just so exciting to see the natural world up and close like that. And this is Florida. It's like dinosaur Florida. Like it's like Australia on steroids. I mean, you don't want to go lifting up things to look under a log. Is there anything cool under here? And a snake jumps out at you. But or bugs and spiders. But use common sense and be smart, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. Oh, lastly, I just want to share with you. I also collect different things like bats. Actually, my sister gave this to me, and I think my niece Ellie gave Ellie, you're there on the call. I think she gave this to me. So I keep these. These are great. I also have, and we're going to start sketching, I promise. Then I also have really cool things in bell jars like puffer fish. And I even have like horseshoe crabs. I mean, I just have things because I love nature and I love studying these things. So if everyone's ready, the whole objective of this, and let me know, just shout out if you don't have what you're looking for. But the whole objective, Oh, the whole objective of this is you see a boatload of pictures in there. You're like, there are so many pictures. We're going to draw all these. No, we're not because we only literally have 40 more minutes. So what we're going to do is for about 15 minutes each, because we're going to share at the very end too. So for 10 minutes. So for 30 minutes, for 15 minutes, starting now, go ahead and pick an image. Hopefully you've looked at them, but find something that just captivates your attention. You find it interesting. And then like I said, you can start by either drawing that image. I don't know if y'all can see my notebook under here, but you can start by drawing the image and then leaving space around it so that you can put notes and observations and things, but find something that you're captivated by. There's a lot of weird things in there. It's really great. And then, like, see how I did this one? I didn't actually put any notes in there yet. I'm going to. It's just I finished that and then I just didn't. And that's okay because this is a great example for me to show
Hey
you.
Scott, we can't see your.
Oh, you can't? Oh, Jamie, can you share my
Did I just do it? I think I did. Can everybody see it now?
Now I can see it.
I can't see it. Wait a minute.
Send it.
Where is it?
There's two of me in the group. There's a Scott, there's a Scott Merrell. Scott Merrell's my twin brother. He's on the other side.
If you could spotlight both of them, we will be able to see them.
Say that if we spotlight both of them, is that what you said?
Spotlight Scott
Yeah.
and his other screen too.
That's what I did. Okay. Spotlighting. Okay, that. Everybody see that?
No.
I just spotlighted it. Spotlight. How's that?
There it is. There it is.
That was
Great. Thank you so much. So that's cool. We can all see it. So I left this guy kind of in the open on purpose so that you could see there's white space. Now, when I do that, that's so I can put, what is it? It's a hawk skull. I can put observations. I can put what I wonder about it, what I notice about it, just whatever wonderful, juicy, curious details of wonderment that your brain produces. I'll lay it out and be like, yeah, just really dig into it. Pretend like you're Google and you're just diving into what you made. It's so much fun. Here's another one where I kind of did like a composition. I started with this and I drew this line. And I was like, okay, but then I was like, I drew these tiny little oyster shells. So I was like, well, let's pop that out and draw them bigger. And then I wrote notes about what was else there, So do things like that. So hopefully everybody's found an image that you want to draw. And then just go ahead and get started. And you can either start with words, image, or however. I'm going to pick something. I really like insects a lot too. So I think I'm going to draw that amazing looking wasp. And remember, you're not creating a masterpiece. Some of you will probably accidentally create a masterpiece because you're so talented. But your objective here is just to observe and record and document all the wonderful, amazing things in the nature world. And you can use anything. You can use pencil, pen, crayon, doesn't matter. Do whatever you want to do. And I tend to start with shapes when I draw. I'm a big shapy type person where I just like to kind of explore. And if, just so you know, there's a member in our group right now who's in our group who's extremely good at animals, and I absolutely love her work. And it's Jess. I went to the zoo the first time with her when I started doing stuff, and I was blown away. I was like, wow. I mean, I couldn't believe it. So if we're out drawing and you have a question about animal anatomy, I don't know, Jess, I'm sure you'll be happy to help them, but she's very skilled at that. So just letting you know.
It's interesting how when you draw it, it brings up questions.
Yeah, you start looking at it and you're like, what's going on there? Like the fact that this bumblebee has fur or something. Like, where did that come from? I guess it's a wasp, not a bumblebee. It's like a wasp. See, that's the wonder part. And I wanted to share with you too. I tend to want to stay off my cell phone as much as I can on the weekends because we're on technology all the time. But one really great thing, I don't know how it works with the Android phones, but on the iPhone, when you take a picture of a plant, there's actually a plant identifier in there, and it'll tell you what it is. And that's really pretty amazing because if you're out there and you're like, I don't know what this is I'm drawing, you take a picture of it when you're done, it'll tell you what it is. And a lot of times it'll have the Latin name too, which is a lot of fun because you can go, I wonder why that Latin name, what does that literally mean? I think it was Carl Linnaeus who kind of did all the taxonomy names for stuff. I was like, what kind of job is that? That's incredible. But a lot of the stuff is literal, like I was looking up something the other day and the literal translation for it was, it salt. It was a beetle that I did. And it said the literal translation was salt morph, like salt shape. And I was like, what? Like a salt shaker? And then the more I looked at it, and I need to keep an eye on the clock. The more I looked at it, the more I noticed the back of the thing looked like when you pour salt on things, the little speckle marks. And I was like, wow, what a literal translation is that? That's crazy. But it's fun because, it makes you think about our vocabulary and how the words we say, where do they come from? And why do we do that? I think it's fascinating that our sun is a star. I feel kind of stupid, but I wasn't a child when I realized that, oh wait, our sun's an actual star. That's really cool, And but it's our personal star and it's called Sol, S-O-L. And which is really neat. So keep in mind that we're drawing and we love drawing. We really, really do. But keep in mind, you probably want to put a few notes in there. So what I'm going to do is keep an eye on the time. So know we have 10 minutes. At 10 minutes till 9, we're going to share. So 5, 10, 15, 20. We just started drawing 5, 10, 15. So I'll tell you what, at 8:30, at 8:30, we'll stop. But keep in mind that at 8:25, and I'll remind you, I'll say, hey, it's 8:25. I'll say it's 8:25. Do you want to start documenting anything if you haven't yet? Because that is truly part of this experience. It's not just drawing art because we all love to draw art. It's also making observations and notes. That's a part of nature journaling, So I get it. We are passionate artists and we love to make art as best we can. And sometimes it's hard to fight that, because you're like, well, I want to keep going. I want this to look amazing. And you can still make the amazing part later, just if you just go ahead and get as far as you can and then go, okay, I need to put some notes in here. And then a lot of times when I'm out, if I see something and I'm not done drawing it yet, and I have to go, my wife's like, hey, we got to go. And I'm like, okay. Then what I'll do is just snap a picture and just use that as a reference for later. If I'm allowed to really understand the color, what's that meridian on there. So, okay, so I think I've gotten far enough with this little bug. And as you can see, it's a very basic sketch. I mean, there's not a whole lot happening there. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of put some really nice kind of blacks in here real quick, and I'm keeping an eye on my clock.
And I think that's a yellow jacket.
Yep.
Is it? Yeah. They're really cool. I remember I went up and sketched in Virginia one time at this, it was almost like an art hunting. It was kind of weird, but it was cool at the same time. And you stayed in like your individual little bungalow rooms, and then they'd make dinner for you. It was a bunch of artists, and the people who ran the show and you paid them to go there, they were artists. So they would help you with your art too. But they would make dinner. It was like a B&B. They would make dinner, and then you'd all go and sketch on the mountain, and then you'd come back, and then at the end of the day we'd come back for lunch, and at the end of the day they'd come back and they'd have dinner made for us, and we would all talk about our art experience, like, what did you do today? Oh, I did this. And different, like I did watercolor, some people did oil, some people did, he had a studio full of, he even had like powdered color, like pigment that you could mix if you wanted to make your own. He's still there too, him and his wife, and it's the coolest. I was like, y'all had to be hippies. I'm telling you, right? This is really cool. And speaking of hippies, there's a funny story. My dad was this super conservative, like very the shoelace tight, clean cut. Everything about him was just very reserved, not conservative, but just reserved. And you'd never imagine him doing anything like out of the ordinary. Like, I don't think he drank or anything. And so, a few years ago, I was talking to him and, documenting his life for my granddaughter, and my son, so that they'll have like, a documentation of who is this man, and so I'm talking to him and I'm like, okay, so in this book, it's asking questions like, what's places you've been. And he talked about being in San Francisco. And I was like, when are you in San Francisco? And he's like, oh, it was a long time ago. And he's like, right before you were born. And I was like, oh, he goes, yeah, we stayed in this tent. And it was his tent because I stayed in this tent with all these people. I was like a circus tent? And he's like, what? No. And I was like, what do you mean you stayed in a tent? Were you camping? He goes, no, it was in San Francisco. And I'm thinking, I was like, was it a yurt? And he's like, yeah, I think that was it. I was like, you stayed in a yurt? And he's like, yeah. I was like, what did you do in that yurt? Was I born 9 months later? Because that's kind of wacky, And he's like, yeah, those were the good old days, It wasn't, I was learning about life. So I don't know why I shared that with you, but it's kind of a neat, fun aspect, That's part of the I wonder experience. I wonder what was wrong with my dad, and or what was right with my dad. That's really cool. All right. I don't know if you can see, but that's my basic. I'm kind of done at this point for the sketch part. I'm not too worried about it. You know what? We still have a few minutes. I'm gonna throw some color on there for fun. And then look, I have water. What was that? And so I don't have to get up and leave. And I don't really have a bright yellow. It's funny if you look at my, I've used up almost all my paints. I need to replenish the well. But so my color yellow is not going to be tragically bright, but that's okay. He's got a tan. So there's a little bit of color. It's got these. I really do wish I had that on camera. I'm gonna get some, instead of black, I'm gonna use sepia. I know he's really dark, but just enough to get him to pop. Is everybody having a good time? I hope you are.
Yeah.
I just love this. It's so much fun to me. Did anybody else happen to do the bee? Am I the only
I'm
bee
doing the
person?
bee.
Yeah, I'm
All
doing the yellow
right.
jacket.
This
Yeah.
will be fun.
Okay.
And the yellow jacket. Yeah, sorry. And this will be fun because this is one of the coolest parts about doing nature journaling is that if you happen to draw the same thing and you don't share yet, you write your observations down. It's so cool to talk to another person who did the same thing and go, wow, I didn't notice that. How did you notice that? That's really cool, and so you share your observations and you learn more. I mean, it's very much an educational thing. I mean, it's just really great. I'm really fortunate. I happen to run into at work. Kevin knows about it. There's a guy. I think his name is Keith. Is that right, Kevin? And he is the executive director for the Timucuan parks. And so, with that in mind, Kevin introduced me. He said, "Hey, this is Scott. He does our art for the company, And then we just started chatting, and somehow I brought up nature journaling, and told him what it was. He came over to my local studio office and was looking at stuff, and he said, "Would you be interested in coming to the Timucuan parks to teach some of this?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, I would, because he said, 'Do you mind working with youth?' And I said, 'No, not at all.' I said, 'I used to teach drawing with the Art League of Jacksonville for several years, and I would love to do that.' So that's very exciting because now I have this opportunity now to take nature journaling and really kind of explore it and share with other people, especially young people. Those are the ones that I'm really thinking about because their whole world's changing so fast with technology that I just hope that they have an opportunity to explore the outdoors and do things that are critical thinking skills. So important.
Hey,
My
Scott,
niece,
that's Fred Richards. He's
oh,
a
Fred.
executive director. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Put in the chat about Seven Creeks if you'd
Yeah.
meet him if you come out there. It's a good event.
Super neat, nice guy too. If I had bright yellow, which that's in the other room. Oh wait, I have my. Lo and behold, I have coloring pencils. What do you know? I tend to keep art supplies all over the house in case I have an emergency drawing that I need to do. This is urgent.
Emergency.
I have to get this out of my head as fast as possible, or I'll forget it. Okay. So again, I know I can make a pretty decent wasp. This is just a quick sketch because when you're outside and that wasp lands, he's not going to be around for very long. So, so you got 5 more minutes before we start the next one. So go ahead. I'm going to, what was this called? A paper wasp? Is that what someone said?
A yellow jacket.
Yellow jacket.
Yellow jacket. Thank you for sharing that. Yellow jacket. Okay, and then what I like to do is this. So if I'm looking at this guy, I go, hey, he's got these crazy little hairs. They're just so cool. And you know what? I do know, I'll be honest with you, I do know the reason for these hairs. I'm sure some of you other folks know too, but I just happened to learn this the other day, about a week ago. And I learned it, and now that I'm seeing it, it's connected. These little hairs help collect pollen. Well, actually, on bees, they do that. I imagine it's probably the same for wasps. I don't know. But with bees, they collect pollen and it lands on there. So I'm going to put a little note. I'm going to draw a little arrow. And then I'll draw a really squiggy kind of line because I'm not an engineer. And then I'm going to write on there thin hair-like. I don't know what they're called. Thin hair-like things. What are they for? What are they for? And why I do that is I'll remember it later and go, oh yeah, I was wondering what those were for. Let's look that up. So that's really cool. And then what's really, really neat is the inside of these wings are so thin. How thin are these? And you know what it reminds me of? The Orville and Wilbur Wright wings on the planes, right? So then I can go, oh, wait a minute. So this is where it starts happening, folks. you go, I thought that reminds me of the wing on an airplane more. And then I go, actually, it kind of reminds me of the helicopter. Well, wait a minute. These things hover like helicopters and their wings look kind of like the blade. I wonder if there's like some cool, did humans look at wasps and bees and go, hey, Da Vinci, did he look at it and go, I looked at an insect and I think we can build a machine that could do the same thing, and he designed like, I think the first helicopter. I think it wasn't really a helicopter, but he come up with the idea for it. How thin are they? Question mark. I do want to know. And then I go, how do I know if this is a male or female? So I'm going to go this or this. And then I'm going to look up later, what are the things? How can I tell them apart? Is it these little hairs? Is it like a beard? Is it a male? Do they got hairs like in weird places? I don't know. And so that's a good question. That's a question I want to know. Is it male or female? I don't know. And now the cool thing is you will, when you're done with whatever you're drawing and you ask these questions, and we're almost at time, we have one more minute, you will then know more about yellow jacket wasp than you ever thought you could learn, because your curiosity will pay off. And then suddenly they're the most entertaining person in the room, the most interesting person in the room, So, okay, we got about 40 seconds, and then wherever you're at, let's just stop. And then, in fact, when we're done, why don't we just kind of share you can hold it up, and then if anyone would like to share and just say what the most exciting thing they found about their drawing, or most curious thing, or anything, you just look at it and just ask yourself, hey, what was your observation, and what made you excited about this? So we got about 10 more seconds. 9, 8.
Scott, your mind is like a 5-year-old in an amusement park. You just crack me up.
I take that as a compliment.
It is a compliment.
Lindsay, I think, is still on the call, and I drive her crazy all the time. She's my neighbor at work, so I'm like, hey, let's go for a walk. I got to talk to you about something.
She's not the only one you drive crazy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, and would anybody, Jamie, would it be a headache for you to share the screens of folks that are sharing at this point, or do you want to wait till the end?
Well, if you want to do it now, give that a shot. I hope I can see everybody.
Yeah, however you want to do it, because we're going to do another one. So if you want to
I
share
can
now,
see Lisa's. How about that?
say again.
Here's Lisa.
Hey, look at that, Lisa. I love it. So you did the mushrooms.
I
So
did the
talk to me
mushroom.
about what you have there.
I'm looking backwards, so I can't even read it. Can you guys read it?
Yeah, want me to read it to you?
Oh, okay. Yeah, read it to me.
It says, does it grow in moist areas or shade? How long do they live? What type of mushroom is this? What are the ribs under the cup for? That's a great question. What influences the shape of the mushroom, and how many grow together? Wow. So those are great questions. So what do you think about those questions? What do you speculate on one of your questions?
Well, mushrooms grow a lot of different ways, and they can grow 20 together, or they can grow only 2 together. So yeah. I'd be really curious to find out how many of those grow in a group. And I should have put, is this poisonous or non-poisonous?
Oh.
That's another question I should have asked.
Yeah. Is this hallucinogenic or not? So that's exciting. Yeah, I'm so curious about those ribs too.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to share? Thank you, Lisa.
Thanks. Share.
Okay. See, Jess has got one here.
Jamie.
Yeah, now that you talked me up.
Oh,
nice.
Look at that. Okay, Jess, lay it on us. What do you think?
I think the one that stood out the most to me question-wise is I noticed really how soft the bottom under the jaw is. And it kind of reminded me of like a pelican, and I wonder if it expands as much like a pelican does.
That is a great question, too.
Yeah, because it gets really hard and armor plated pretty quickly on the back of the neck area, which I know is, where they like grab and fight and all that. But
yeah,
I hadn't noticed how
that's cool.
Gelatinous it was before that. Less questions,
I love it.
more observations. Thank you.
Jamie.
Okay, hold on. I'm finding you.
Oh, thanks for the shout out, by the way. It
Of
was muted
course.
earlier.
Of
There's
course.
Christine. Am I hearing you?
Yes.
No pressure.
Okay, here you go.
All right. So I've got a couple of things. I have a museum that I keep all kinds of weirdo stuff in it.
I love it.
Yeah, all kinds of bits and pieces. So I
Kenji.
went out and got one of my favorite things, which is this garter snake that I have several pieces of it, and it's hollowed out. It's been eaten out.
Hold it.
Can you
so-
lift it up
yeah.
higher? Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you're
Oh.
so lucky to have that.
Isn't that cool? You can see straight through his skull. And here's the back part of it. You can see it on the inside.
Oh, neat.
And I have a bigger piece where you can see all the ribs that go with it, which is just really fascinating to me.
It
So I
is.
pulled this out and then I did a really quickie of it.
Yes.
So here's my really quickie.
Love. Oh, that's so
So
great.
I'm really inspired. I think I'm going to draw all of the pieces in my museum and
Oh, you should.
make a collection.
You should share it with the group too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I've got very strange things, squashed frogs and feather
Wow.
bits, and
Do you love natural science a lot? Are you
Yes,
into that?
yes.
Yeah, that's
You have
great.
a dead cat skeleton too?
yeah,
Oh,
it's
wow.
mummified. It's a mummified cat.
Oh yeah.
What was that?
Yeah.
I've seen them all.
Yes.
They feature
It's-
high.
I know it sounds gross, but it's really, really fascinating. It died in a barn, probably over the winter, so it's kind of freeze dried.
Wow.
So it's mummified, and you can see all the skin, and you can see the antenna whiskers are still there. It's just really fascinating, and we keep it up in the attic so it's nice and dry all the time. But yeah, it sounds gross, but it's fascinating.
It
So
doesn't sound gross. It sounds fascinating. Yeah.
yeah, you're my kind of guy, sir.
I love that stuff. I'm so curious about it. That's very cool. Anybody else? Thank you for sharing. Would anybody
Thank you.
else like to share?
Okay, here's Phyllis. We're going to add her.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh, you did a lot. Okay, share with us.
Well, I just put notes on there like let's see. They make their nest under iron leaves, the little iron plants. The leaves are so strong that a lot of hornets and yellow jackets will make their nest under there. And I know this because my last house, I couldn't get to the front door when I bought it because I had so many iron plants. And I had to get my brother come and just do a huge extermination and then put rocks and stones over it and everything because it was horrible. But and then I put are on the windows and everything. The question that I asked was just like the lifespan, and I put little notes like, the little clairs collect pollen, and that this was a sketch today with you.
Mhm. That's excellent. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
I think
Very educational, and just you could look at that and immediately go, hey, I just learned something today. I mean, you could look at that. It's educational. It's so great. And the artwork is beautiful. I love it. It's so
thanks.
great. Yeah. We got maybe for one more share, and then we probably need to draw another
There's
thing.
Robert. How about Robert?
Oh,
Oh,
hi.
cool. Look at that. Very cool. Now, what would you like to share about that?
Robert, you're muted. You have to unmute yourself.
I love all your games.
How's that?
Those are super cool.
That's better.
Yeah, so I love birds, and I can see that there's like a metal, it looks like a metal plating here. So it was like, did it ever get like refurbished? Did it get damaged?
Oh, yeah.
But it's probably natural. And yeah, I've never seen one before. I've only seen the vultures around here.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's why I was drawn to it.
That is really cool. A curiosity about that is maybe that little indentation, because they eat dead things. I wonder if it's to get like, if they get into some blood or something, maybe it keeps it from going up into their eyes or something. It drains down, perhaps. I don't know, but it's a good educational guess.
And I love the blue around the eye,
Yeah.
with the picture.
Yeah.
I mean, for such a morbid type of bird, it's really interesting, because all they do is eat dead things.
Mhm. It's super cool. I'm glad they do, because can you imagine how bad this place would smell if they didn't?
It would get out of control really quick.
Yeah. Okay, I think we have time to do one more, and then that'll give us, we'll work on that for 5, 10. We'll have like 7 minutes near the end.
I'm happy to share,
Oh,
Scott,
yeah.
because Robert and I have the same taste. I did the buzzard as well, and what was interesting that I found about it was the eye. When you look close at the eye, it's a circulation pattern. It looks like the eye of a hurricane, and you see the circulation. It's beautiful, actually. It starts at the beak. It goes around the eye. It goes around the top of the head, and then around his neck. And I was fascinated with the feather pattern.
Very cool.
And then, it is of the buzzard family, but I've never seen such a beautiful buzzard, and
Yeah.
I just wonder where it lives. What's the habitat? Where is it native?
Those are excellent questions. See, that was beautiful. Now, Chris is the example of when I said maybe you're going to do something really quick and it turns out looking amazing by accident. So
Yeah, it's
that's
by
what I'm talking about.
Yeah, this is out of my comfort zone, but it's a lot of fun.
It looks fantastic. I'm so curious if maybe you can lay the Fibonacci spiral on that, and I
Yeah,
bet you anything it would probably, because you mentioned hurricane, and hurricanes fall within the whole Fibonacci sequence.
yeah,
I bet you
yeah.
anything. I'm going to throw. I keep an app on my phone because I'm so curious about the Fibonacci code, and I take pictures of things and I can move the spiral, and then I see if it lines up. And that Fibonacci is so amazing. It's in nature. I did a whole project on it one time. Okay.
Yeah, I did. And Scott, just real quick, I did exactly what you said. I focused on the eye. I mean, the eye is on my entire iPad, and when you look at that circulation, it's absolutely beautiful. When you
Yeah.
look at the circulation around the eye, you look close, it's amazing. Sometimes we don't have that opportunity.
Yeah. See, it's the little, was it
Yeah,
Mies van der Rohe said God dwells in the details or something like
yeah,
that?
yeah.
That's true, and so these are you focus on the details and you start seeing the things that you just miss. Like Chris, maybe you never, took a chance to really study that bird's eye
Yeah.
before. You never had the opportunity. Now you did, and you're like, wow, that's fascinating. So, very cool.
Very nice.
Okay, so pick another critter or another plant or another whatever that's in here. Um, and Jamie, I'm going to do remove spotlight on me. Can you put the spotlight on the drawing part? The little.
Okay, hold on.
Sorry, thank you. I appreciate you so much. Jamie's our award-winning techno.
I haven't won any awards yet, but I'm working on
I'm
it.
going to make one for you.
Okay.
Design one for you. So. Yeah, so there's some dragon fruit in there. There's a really cool walnut that looks like a brain. It's really cool.
That's what I did.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, great.
Okay.
Oh, you're right, Chris, on that bird eye. That's really, you're so right. I never really, I'm looking at it now. Well, that's pretty cool.
There you go. Take a closer look,
Yeah, for sure. Okay. I know what I'm going with.
Well, I want to tell you guys a fun fact about grizzly bears. Because Evan was saying something about they only eat dead things and whatever. Well, guess what? Grizzly bears only eat dead things. They will literally kill something, leave it someplace until it stinks so bad you can't even get near it, and then they'll go eat it.
Yeah.
Thanks for telling us.
Yes, I know this because there was, when I lived in Montana, we lived we lived like 90 miles from nowhere. That's where we lived. And there were a lot of grizzlies where we lived because we happened to be backed up to a forest where all the problem grizzlies from Yellowstone were brought. So, well, but they weren't a problem for us because they're only a problem when they're around people. And so we were like 90 miles from nowhere, like I was telling you, and there aren't any people there, so they're fine. But there was like a ravine between my house and my neighbor's house. And the neighbor comes up the hill and he says, "Do you smell that?" He says, "Come on, Tom, we got to take our guns and go see what the hell that is." So they go down this ravine and up on top of a boulder, and I'm telling you, the boulder was taller than they were, was this carcass draped over the boulder, and it was totally dead and covered with a bunch of stuff. And the reason why I know grizzly did that, because the winter before, there's a clear cut by our property, and the winter before, in the spring, we went out for a walk, and there were these two divots in the snow, and there were footprints in the divots, and the divots were like, I don't know how to explain it. It looks like something was dragged. It looks like a grizzly picked up the center of an elk and walked up a hill with it. And so it was dragging on both sides. And they followed it and they found it, and it was put up on something and covered. And so they knew that's what the grizzly had done. So grizzlies eat only dead things. So just for you to know, that's pretty weird.
So I think that goes against the whole grain of play dead when you see a grizzly bear.
Yep.
That could be a mistake.
Yep. Yep. They like dead things. Yep. When you live that far out, you got to know all kinds of things about the natural world, or it'll eat you.
Well, I learned something interesting today. Did you know that Davy Crockett had 3 ears?
What?
Yeah.
What?
Davy
Where
Crockett,
was the third
3
one?
ears. He had a left ear, a right ear, and a wild front ear.
Oh my.
Oh,
Boom.
There you go.
Dad joke.
I'm teaching my son the art of dad jokes so he can tell
Yep.
his daughter. You know?
He's learning from the master.
There you go. But in reality, someone in this group is going to tell that joke. So I guarantee it.
Yes, and it'll be tonight.
Yep. And you'd be like, that's really funny. And the reason I know that is I used to tell my son jokes when he was young, and he'd roll his eyes and, Dad, you're such a dork. And then one time, I'm not kidding, I heard him telling his friend that joke. And I was like, this is great.
what kind of mouth?
So it looks like we probably have about 4 minutes left. That'll give us 10 minutes to share. So just to let you know, if you're at a point where you're like, I haven't written anything yet, take that time and also think about oh, I have read. I don't need to yell. Think about in terms of scale too. So remember we said words, pictures, and numbers. So think, wonder how big this is, and you can even be real creative about it. And you can say, like I'm doing an ant, I'd say, how big would that ant be if I was only, 6 feet tall underneath it? you know and so and you start getting real curious, and those are really fun creative thoughts, like just how big would that ant have to be you know if it was a little bigger than a car, like how long would it be, and where would an ant like that come from, and was there nuclear waste around it or something, because ants shouldn't be that big. Is there a Godzilla next to it? Reminds me of that. I don't know if anybody likes how many sci-fi people we have here, but when I was little, there was a movie called Food of the Gods. It was based on H.G. Wells' story, and they had giant ants and bees, and it was really just the coolest, cheesiest but coolest thing I've ever seen. I I rewatched it like last year, I think, or a while back, and I was like, wow, this is bad, but it's so good at the same time.
So
And I get it, this really is out of the wheelhouse of urban sketching. It really, really is, but it kind of isn't at the same time, because, you can include the side of a building or something that one of these things on, or any kind of architectural element that's around it, maybe, or you can think in terms of too, like, this is outside. You drew this outside. You sketched this outside. It's from a living thing. You didn't make up anything. You didn't, create a fantasy looking version of this creature. This is, or this plant, or this whatever, and so, you know, it's not a building, but I kind of feel like it falls under the criteria and qualifications for something to draw outside in an urban environment. You'd be amazed. That's some fun thing too, is when we go out and we decide to do urban sketching, now you can look around and go, well, there's a tree out here. It's got really cool bark. What do I notice about it? And things like that. And you'll still be urban sketching. It's just you're adding a component to it. I'm certainly not suggesting, we abandon buildings or anything, never. I'm just saying that this is an additional component that we can add to our repertoire of fun things to do. Oh my goodness, it's 10 till. Time flies when you're having fun.
wow, that's fabulous.
So let's go ahead and share. If anybody would like to share, please just let me know.
I'll spotlight myself. How about that?
Yeah.
I'm the boss. Can do that. Okay. These are the mushrooms.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, nice.
Wonderful.
So I looked them up to see what they were, because that was one of my questions. And they're called fly agaric mushrooms, and they are poisonous.
Oh.
So don't eat them. They're beautiful. Don't eat them if you see them. They were used for insecticide, but they're so pretty that they're used in children's book illustrations and Christmas cards and all kinds. kinds of things like that.
Look how pretty your handwriting is.
It is. I'm like so jealous.
It looks better to me. But anyway,
Wow.
that's
What
what.
is that watercolor?
No, I'm using markers. I found
Oh.
some markers. That's why I'm having trouble duplicating the colors.
Nice. Nice. Looks good.
Thank you. Who else wants to go?
Jamie. Christine.
Oh, there you are.
Okay. So we grew oyster mushrooms.
Oh, wow.
So you can get a kit where you water this mulchy stuff and grow oyster mushrooms. And it was just fascinating how fast they grow. It takes them 2 or 3 days to go from mulchy stuff to real mushrooms. And then we made something wonderful with them and ate them.
Oh, I was going to ask you, can you eat them?
Oh yeah, because they're oyster mushrooms. And it's not exactly what you were talking about, but I thought they were so pretty. And this isn't particularly great, but oh well. The upper part's the box because the box was rather pretty.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of fun with them. We have another set ready to start growing again.
Do they call it oyster mushrooms because they look like oysters, or do they kind of taste
It
like
has a
oysters?
taste, they have a kind of taste of oysters, but it's very, very mild.
Oh,
And
very cool.
they're beautiful gray-y, browny color. And I don't think I can give you a picture of what they look like, but anyhow, they're a lot of fun. You can get the kits, especially after Christmas. You can get them for very little money, and they're fun to do and fun to watch them. But there you go.
Very cool. Thank you
Yeah,
for sharing.
we like mushrooms. It's one of our favorite things.
Yeah. Would anybody else like to share?
Yeah. Share. Robert. Ooh, that's
Very
pretty.
cool.
What is that? It looks familiar.
Dragon fruit.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's what that is. Yeah, okay.
The reason why I want to show is because I really appreciate what you guys do, and this is like practice on sketching something really fast,
Yeah.
And like I was saying before, like I like birds and stuff, and that's like you were saying that with birds you have to be really quick, and this is good practice for stuff like that. But my question was, where does it grow, and what does the inside look like?
Oh, that would be fun to go get one just to cut it open.
Oh, you can buy one.
But I think I've seen them at the supermarket, and they're really expensive.
Yeah,
They're like
they're like
$5 each or something.
$6 a piece or something.
Yeah. Because I wanted to do something for like Sketchtober or something like that, and I was like, yeah, it's kind of an expensive model.
They're white with black seeds
The
in them.
insides
Really
are
cool.
beautiful.
Yeah,
Cool.
they're
Yeah.
really pretty. They're Asian, that's why they're so expensive, but they're really cool.
Oh, nice.
Elle,
Thank you.
did you have something you wanted to share?
Oh, yeah, I did a mushroom at the end. Oh, maybe I need to turn off my
Yeah.
blurring.
Yeah, turn off your
There it
blur.
is. There it is.
There we go. We got it.
Okay. Oh, no,
There you
sorry.
go. You're back.
Um, yeah, but I did it kind of and I mean when I was thinking about my questions for it, I was like it kind of turned into a mushroom dating profile. And so I was thinking, like, do they have pores? Do they age? Like, what's their height requirement? Are they seeking a new lease on life? What are their turnoffs? Maybe red flags.
Great.
Kind of how I was thinking about it, but maybe just joking.
That is fantastic. Everybody, this is my niece, Ellie. She lives in Baltimore.
Hi.
She joined us from far away. So Ellie actually does art too, and I'll be joining her in April to do a nature journaling.
Cool.
Yeah, we're so excited.
Yeah.
Great.
I'm so excited.
That's pretty neat.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you, Elle.
Awesome.
Anybody else have anything they would like to share?
Anybody?
Chris, do you have a beautiful?
Don't want to hog.
Okay,
I got-
Lindsay.
I got one I'd like to share.
Oh, wait a
Scott,
minute.
if you can.
I also have my sketch.
Here, I get one.
Here we go.
Oh,
There's one.
Gianna.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, look at that. I love your ant
Oh,
too.
Very
yeah.
nice.
Oh, yes. Very
That's
nice.
fantastic.
Thank you.
All right.
I need to ask more questions because I don't think much when I'm sketching, so I think this is like a good opportunity for me to start adding to my normal routine. So thank you very much, Scott, for this.
Very cool.
Yes.
Hey, cool. Who else has got one?
I got one.
Me.
Jamie. Oh,
Where are you? I'm trying to find you.
go ahead.
I can't find you on my screen. Here we go.
Oh,
There you are.
You're
Who
up.
has one?
is Kevin White still on?
You want me to
Yeah,
put Kevin?
he's
Yes,
there.
come on.
Let me find
Yeah,
Kevin.
I wanted to show next year's LSU homecoming game. I just say go Tigers. This is
Yeah, national champion right there.
this guy's got an amazing overbite. He's not able to eat anything, and they also taste like chicken. So just want to make sure you guys all know that. And it pained me to sketch a gator, but I did my best to destroy it. Go Tigers!
You're a winner in my book,
So
Chris.
pretty.
That's great.
Okay, who else? Anybody else?
Amy, I've got my bug if you want my bug.
This one?
Yeah, there we go.
So that's my ladybug.
Look at there. That's
Very
cute.
Very
nice.
nice.
Interesting. It's got a heart on its back.
Yeah, it had a heart on it. I thought that was pretty good. This is my gator, but he looks more friendly than your. I'm going to eat I'm going to eat the.
Oh,
That's a good one,
I can't
Abby.
read my questions. I think it's out of focus, but
Yeah, I like
It's a
it.
really cool drawing.
It looks more like a pussy cat. I love it.
Lindsay, I think you were sharing something. Are you still on the call? I saw you.
Find Lindsay. Wave at me if you're Lindsay. I don't see anybody.
Is she still here? Or did...
I don't see anybody else.
Oh, no. I guess she had to drop off, maybe.
Jesse's got something.
Okay.
Oh, just an ant.
Oh, let me see your ant.
Aunt Jess.
Ooh, I love it.
Gorgeous.
I think I was most interested in these little tiny, just little things
Hairs,
like,
the hairs, yeah.
yeah, but they're like the same single hair on all the legs. And I was just like, what are those specific? Are they just feelers like antenna, like everything else is? Or
Yeah,
That is interesting.
they telegraph the vibration of air and stuff like that to let the ant know, I don't know about their surroundings.
I just learned about the ant death circles. Have you guys heard about those?
Death
If
circles?
if a couple scout ants get their trails circular, like they go around in a circle, the other ants will follow the scout ants' trail and they will literally walk themselves into a circle death and they can get up to like hundreds of feet. They're huge. You should check them out. They're like ant death circles. They basically will walk themselves into a circle till they die.
Wow.
And it'll be millions of them because
Whoa.
they're so reliant on the pheromones of following.
Yeah.
Some ant found some sort of snack and then he went back to tell everybody and came back, but then somehow got into a circle. The other ants will actually follow
Are they
it.
in North America?
I don't know exactly which ants
Okay.
do, but it seems to be well documented.
Looking at your art, do you wonder which end does that pheromone come out of? Like, do you think it's the front?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I'm not as good at questions as I am at observations. I think I'm a more logical thinker. So
No,
I'm
that's
more of
that's
a
great. Those questions, because then questions can then lead to observations. Usually it's the other way around. Observations lead to questions, but you can ask stuff and then go, I wonder which, we talk about pheromones, and then looking at it, you go, well, wait a minute, even yours, like you said, how good is the ant's vision? And then I saw
Yeah.
that note and I was like, I wonder if maybe the antenna kind of help with it doesn't see through it, but does it read the world somehow with its antenna?
right. Is their scent? Where's their nostrils? That's more questions that I would now think of adding to it.
Great.
Yeah, just the proportions of that are really beautiful. That's really
Oh,
nice.
thank you.
That's a nice, really
Nice little ant.
nice. Yeah.
Mhm.
Sorry, I'm all like in bed. I have to put a foot up. I rolled my ankles, so I'm not usually like so chill.
Yeah. cool. I'm sorry that you will trade.
Nope, we got one for Lisa's got a ladybug.
I have a ladybug. I have a ladybug because I have a lot of ladybugs at my house because I bought ladybugs for my garden. And so
Build 'em aphids.
I tend to, they eat aphids, which is very important. But I also wondered, what else do they eat besides aphids? I never thought about that before, but now I'm thinking about that. And also, how long does a ladybug live? I have no idea. And I mean, I know that they lay egg casings on leaves, but I don't know how long it takes for the casing to hatch and how many hatch. So there's a lot of questions about ladybugs, and they're really, really important to gardens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I wonder why they call them
And it's good luck
ladybugs.
when they light on you as well.
Yes. I had one the other day light on me, and it was a light orange, like this color orange. And I was like, why do I have that color orange ladybug? And it was really a ladybug. So that was really strange. Yeah.
Good luck.
Well, it's definitely good luck, like Chris said.
Yeah. Yeah.
We believe
Thank you.
that.
Oh, and this is just not to usurp anything, but I was just going to show you guys. This is what an ant death circle.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
They just go in a circle till they exhaust themselves to death. It's pretty crazy, but
I
it's
bet you could put the Fibonacci on that and something.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
right. There's
right.
your hurricane. That's all. I just thought I'd share. It was a fast. I just learned about it recently, so it definitely my brain went there. It's like
All ants do that or just certain varieties?
I think certain varieties. It says fish have been known to observe the behavior, and so have caterpillars. Army ants are the most common.
Army ants, okay.
Yeah, and they just go until the last ant dies because they're so pheromone based.
Wow, very cool. See how much we're
Interesting.
learning about the natural world? This is so exciting.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Scott, this has been wonderful. Thank you so much.
Of course. Did anybody else have something they wanted to share before we jump off that we might, Phyllis, do you have something there?
I did my walnuts.
Oh, cool.
And Chris, I want you to know all night I've only been drawing with ink, no pencil.
Proud of you, Phyllis.
That's hard.
That's a major step.
But my questions were, how long does it take a walnut to develop? Where do they grow? I know that my squirrel Chipper, that's one of his favorite things to eat. And of course, I feed him and all the other squirrels in the backyard walnuts every day. But so that was my questions.
Very good. Beautiful work and great observations. I love that.
Yeah, great.
This was fun.
Yeah.
I'm so glad.
This
Yeah.
was. It was very good.
Cool.
Very
Well, if no one has anything else to share, if you do, that's fine. Just shout out. But I think what we're going to do is for sure. I forgot the date already. It's not this weekend, but I think it's the following weekend. Is that right? We're meeting at Tilly Fowler. I can't remember the date. I'm so sorry. So,
Yes, the 21st.
21st.
yeah.
What time? I have two different times for some reason.
It's
Oh,
12.
I changed it.
Yeah.
That was me.
Okay.
Yeah, originally it was 11, and then I talked to the biologist who works there, and she said their museum or their science center, which is full of amazing things. She said it doesn't open until 1, and she goes, but we might be able to open it a little earlier. And I thought, it's such a cool experience that I didn't want people to be like there for 2 hours before they got to go inside. So I did purposely bump up those hours, bump forward an hour. So we'll be there for an hour. And if no one's been there before, it's a fascinating place. There's trails. There's an old brick trail from the old Kings Road. You go to the very back. There's a tower that you can go up and you can overlook an ecosystem. It's absolutely beautiful. And there's architecture too. So if you want to do urban sketching and not critters and stuff and plants and whatever, you can certainly do the building. It's a beautiful building. But we can go inside. She might let us in early. She said if she was back, she would definitely let us in early. And they're evidently pulling weeds or something that day. And then I do recommend bring a hat and maybe bring bug spray. The bugs aren't bad right now anyways, but just bring it, I guess. And if the ground's wet, and because you might be walking through a little bit, make sure you don't bring nice shoes, and bring a chair and probably something to drink. They have bathrooms right there in front of the place where we're going. But yeah, and parking is it's not terrible, but the street goes back to actual playgrounds and stuff. There is parking, but if you get there and for some reason there's nowhere to park, if you go down the street and park at the park, I'll send out my phone number. Just call me and I'll get in my car and come get you and bring you up front. And that way, you won't have to walk very far if you get stuck. But I don't think there should be a problem, but I'll definitely send my email out and sorry, my phone number. And then that way you all have it in case for whatever reason you have to park far away and you don't want to walk. I'll be more than happy to come get you and bring you back. Okay. Well, I'm
What
very
time?
excited.
What's the time?
It is
12.
12 to 3.
Okay. And are we meeting at the museum?
Yes. And
Okay.
yes. And then it's not like you go very far. I mean, once you park, you're looking at the museum. There's 2 buildings. There's a science center type. That's the museum. And then like 30 feet in front of it, there's some restrooms. They're wooden, big buildings. You can't miss it. Once you park, you're looking at them. So yeah. So we'll meet there. And again, I'll send my phone number out. If you go to park and you're like, I can't find a place to park, you could probably park along the road too, But if for whatever reason, if you're like, I have to park down the road a bit to the playgrounds, which there's a lot of parking down there for all the kids and stuff, just call me and I'll be like, sure, I'll come get you. I'm getting there early, so I'll know I'll have parking, and then I'll come get you and then bring you back up. And then that way, try and find a place to park. I mean, I prefer that, but if you can't, I'll be more than happy to come get you. It'll be fun and educational, and I love stuff like this so much. So I think we're gonna have a great time.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Scott.
Thank you.
It was
Great
great.
job,
Thanks,
Scott.
Scott.
Yes,
Really
Have
great
really
job.
enjoyed it.
Great.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye. Thank you.
We know what your passion is. Take care. Good night,
Yep.
everybody. Thank you
Night,
again.
everybody.
Bye.
Good night. Thank you. Good night, Ellie.
Night, Scott.
Good night.